Good evening. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here. My name is Cameron Bailey. I'm the CEO here at TIFF, and you are here to see Decision to Leave, the new film by director Park Chan-wook. Yes. Very glad to have his new film here and to be presenting it to you in the beautiful Visa screening room at the Princess of Wales Theatre. We want to thank our sponsor, Visa Canada, for their longtime partnership. And a sincere thank you also to our lead sponsor, Bell, and our major sponsors, RBC and Bulgari, for their continued support. And thanks also to our major sponsors and supporters on the public side, the Government of Canada, the Government of Ontario, Telefilm Canada, and the City of Toronto. A reminder, if you've been attending the festival already, have you been seeing other films here? Yes? All right, good. So you know this. This film is eligible, like every film in the festival, for our People's Choice Award. You decide, you vote, and you do that by going online to tiff.net/vote. Big thanks to Mubi and Mongrel Media and CJENM for providing us with this film. And we're so glad to have a new film by director Park here. You probably know his previous films. He actually started as a philosophy student at Sogang University in Korea and later worked as a film critic while pursuing a career as a writer-director. And his films include Joint Security Area, JSA, from 2000, I'm a Cyborg, But That's Okay, Thirst, Stoker, and a number of films that played at our festival, including Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Oldboy, which I think you may have seen, Lady Vengeance, and The Handmaiden. Decision to Leave is his newest film. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where it won the prize for Best Director. Director Park has a remarkable understanding of our deepest and darkest desires. I don't know where he gets it, but it's such a pleasure to watch his stories unfold. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the director of Decision to Leave, director Park Chan-wook.
무슨 인사말을 준비는 했는데 이 극장의 아름다움에 압도돼서 갑자기 다 잊어버렸네.
I prepared a speech for you, but this beautiful, mesmerizing theater just overpowers me, and I'm speechless.
예, 이렇게 환영해 주셔서 정말 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome.
나중에 Q&A가 있으니까 자세한 말씀은 그때 나누기로 하고요.
Well, we have a Q&A afterwards, so I look forward to our conversation.
미리 영화 보시기 전에 알아두셔야 될 말씀 한 가지만 드리고 내려가겠습니다.
I would like to tell you just one thing that I wish that you know before you watch my film.
영화가 이제 한참 진행되어서 하나의 사건이 마무리가 되거든요. 예.
So there's a case, and then that case will kind of resolve in the middle of the film, and you will reach that point.
그래서 보통 영화가 거기서 끝날 것 같은 상황이 되어요.
And it kind of looks like the film will end right there.
그런데 크레딧이 올라가지 않고 또 몇 달이 흐른 뒤라는 자막이 나오면서 이야기가 새로 시작합니다.
But then you don't see the credits rolling. Instead, you see a couple of months later.
그래서 여태까지 본 만큼 영화가 또 남았나라고 걱정할 수가 있어요.
And that's gonna get you worried. So, am I gonna have to sit through another film?
너무 겁먹지 마세요. 그만큼 길진 않아요, 뒷부분은.
Don't worry, it's not gonna be that long. The second part, okay?
진짜 재미있는 얘기는 거기 담겨 있으니까 나가버린다거나 하지 마시고 끝까지 봐주시기 바랍니다.
The most fun part is in the second part, so do not leave.
네, thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for staying. Before welcoming back director Park Chan-wook and screenwriter Chung Seong to the stage, I'd like you to know that this year we are offering active listeners for anyone who may require support after the screening. And the active listeners can be accessed as follows all throughout the festival until September 18. A TIFF Bellite box on the 4th floor, and signage will be on site. And the hours available are from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And now please join me in welcoming back director Park Chan-wook. And the scriptwriter of the film, Chung Seo-kyung. Please, Chung. Chung Seo-kyung. Yeah. Thank you. So just to start the conversation, I have a question maybe for both of you. The decision to leave is inspired by a Korean song. And what was the process of developing this film like? And if you can just tell us, how did you work together on this film? Yeah.
예, 지금 들으신 그 안개라는 곡이 출발이 된 건 사실이에요. 원래 좋아했던 곡인데 저는 그 여성 가수의 버전만 알고 있었어요. 1960년에 나온 곡인데 그런데 최근에서야 남성 가수, 지금 같이 마지막에 부른 남자 가수도 불렀다는 것을 알게 됐는데 그 가수도 내가 제일 좋아하는 가수예요. 먼저.
Yes, it is true that I was inspired by the song called The Mist that you heard during the credit and also throughout the film. And I always loved that song, and I only knew about the version that was sung by a woman singer in 1960. And then recently I found out that it was also sung by a male singer whom I adore also.
그래서 한 노래를 두 가수가 부르는 두 가지 버전을 영화 하나에 두 번 쓰는 그런 영화를 만들고 싶다는 생각이 들었어요. 근데 당연히 노래 가사 내용을 생각하면 사랑 영화여야 하겠죠.
So I wanted to feature this song sung by two of them, so used this song twice in the film. And of course, if you look at the lyrics, and it had to be a love story.
워낙 그 전부터 형사 영화를 만들고 싶다는 생각은 따로 갖고 있었기 때문에 이 두 개를 합쳐서 만들면 어떨까? 그렇게 해서 그것만 가진 상태에서 서경 작가한테 이야기를 건넸습니다.
And then I had another desire to make a detective crime thriller. And then, so one day, wouldn't it be nice if I can combine these two? So I had that idea in my mind, and I sat down with my co-writer, and I told her about that idea.
감독님이 그렇게 말씀을 하시는데요. 저는 사실 그 노래에 대해 잘 몰랐어요.
The director talked about the song, but I actually never heard the song before.
그리고 그 노래도 칸느에서 스크리닝 할 때 처음 들어봤어요.
And I heard the song for the first time at the Cannes screening.
아마 그 전에 감독님이 저한테 그 노래에 대해서 말씀을 하셨던 것도 같은데 사실 제가 원래 감독님과 음악 취향이 좀 맞지 않아서 잊어버렸던 것 같아요.
I think he might have mentioned the song to me, but the songs that he like and I like are very different, so I wasn't interested.
감독님과 음악 취향이 다르다는 사실은 금자씨 때부터 느꼈습니다.
I noticed that we have very different musical tastes since Lady Vengeance.
거기도 이런 구성진 노래가 나오거든요.
In that film, there's a song like this as well.
아무튼 감독님이 저한테 메일로 주신 것은 두 남편을 죽이는 한 여자와 형사가 사랑에 빠지는 이야기를 해보면 어떨까? 그렇게 메일을 주셨어요.
So he approached me saying that how about we write a story about a woman who's been accused of killing two husbands and a detective and like a love story between these two characters.
그래서 제가 감독님 우리는 러브 스토리는 안 될 것 같아요. 우리가 둘 다 못 쓰잖아요. 하고 답을 드렸어요.
And I told them that we can't write love story. We're not good at writing a love story.
그랬더니 감독님이 무슨 말이야? 나는 잘하는데 그러시더라고요.
He said, what are you talking about? I'm good at that.
그래서 제가 메일을 다 썼죠. 무슨 말이세요 지금 이렇게 지금 캐릭터가 그러면 러브스토리가 안 될 것 같은데 하고 답장을 들으면서 어느 순간 제가 이 이야기를 디벨롭하고 있다는 걸 깨달았어요. 제가 여자 캐릭터에 대해서 이미 쓰고 있었거든요.
So when I told them that I couldn't imagine writing a love story, I think I was at the same time kind of slowly developing the character in my head, the female character.
그리고 나서 감독님이 리틀 드라마거를 쓰시는 동안 영국에 가서 함께 이야기를 시작하게 됐고 그리고 꽤 금방 이야기를 완성하게 됐어요.
So I went over to London while he was shooting The Little Drummer Girl, and we started working, and we actually finished the script quite fast.
And I'm curious to know what is the meaning of decision to live, the title of the film, and who decided to have the film called that way.
예, 이제 바로 그런 질문을 관객들이 스스로 하게 만든 것이 목적이었어요.
Yes, the purpose was for the audience to ask yourselves about that question.
영화를 보기 전에는 그러니까 이제 그거는 영화를 본 다음 얘기고요. 이제 또 영화를 보기 전에는 사람들이 결심한다 할 때 그렇게 그런 말 쓰면 사실 잘 안 될 것 같지 않아요? 살 뺄 결심 그러면 잘 못 뺄 것 같고 그러니까 뭔가 그런 마음은 갖고 있는데 희망은 하는데 실패하는 이야기일 것 같다는 그런 예상을 할 것 같았습니다. 그래서 그 과정을 지켜보는 일이 흥미롭겠다라는 생각을 하게 만들고 싶었어요.
So the audience will ask yourselves about that question after the film, of course. But even before you watch the film, and if you see the title, you see the word decision. And I thought the audience might expect to see that something is not going to work. When somebody says, I decided, that kind of gives you the innuendo that it might not quite work out. For example, I decided that I'm going to go on a diet and lose weight. And it is quite possible that that's not going to work out. So I thought that that's what the audience would expect. And seeing that process, how that unfolds, would be quite an enjoyable experience for my audience.
And are there any questions from the audience? Try and see. Yes, please, over there. Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, can you repeat the question because I couldn't hear it?
The question was, could you elaborate on the usage of the devices in the film?
지금 같이 CCTV나 또 스마트폰이 발달한 사회에서 수사 영화를 쓰는 시나리오 작가는 늘 고민을 하게 되는 것 같아요. 이 스마트폰과 CCTV를 등장을 시켜야 될 것인가 말 것인가. 그래서 제가 처음으로 완성한 초고에 여러 가지 문자와 뭐 녹음들이 들었을 때 감독님이 이런 것은 찍고 싶지 않은데 문자 화면이라든지 이게 될까? 그렇게 약간 의심하셨어요. 그런데 감독님이 이제 영화를 찍으시는 과정에서 오히려 이걸 적극적으로 써보자. 그래서 좀 새로운 비주얼과 또 이야기가 들어가게 된 것 같아요.
So we now live in a society where the CCTV and smartphones are well developed. So when we started first writing this film, we were always wondering how to include CCTV and smartphones. And initially I told my director about it, and he wasn't sure how we should incorporate these elements. But ultimately he decided, you know what, let's go for it, let's make this elaborate as we can. And I think it just kind of gave a new, fresh take on the film.
저희도 어려운 점이 많습니다.
It was very hard for us to use smartphones as well. So.
그 사실 이 영화는 애초에 의도부터가 좀 고전적이고 우아한 영화인데 이런 현대 장치들이 현대 기기들이 대거 등장하는 것이 처음에 너무 안 어울릴 것 같아가지고 걱정이 많았지만 어차피 그걸 피해갈 수 없다면 완전히 적극적으로 끌어안고 더 많이 쓰고 더 그것을 재미나게 활용하자라는 쪽으로 방향을 바꿨어요. 그래서 오히려 이런 고전적인 작품의 그 분위기와 재미있는 충돌을 만들 수 있으리라고 봤습니다.
Well, the whole intention from the beginning for this film is to give it a very classical look, an elegant look to it. But then with the appearance of all these modern devices, and these are all at the forefront of the film, and I thought, would it work? You know, would that work? Would that speak to the ambience and the mood? But then, you know what, if you can avoid it, then let's embrace it and let's really maximize the usage of those devices. And I thought when you see that those modern devices appearing and that could create a fun clash against that elegant and classical look of my film.
예를 들면 문자를 한다. 보고 싶은 상대방한테 문자를 한다. 라고 할 때 눈은 진짜 그 육체의 눈은 이 스마트폰의 액정을 보지만 마음의 눈은 그 문자를 읽을 상대방한테 가 있다고도 할 수 있지 않겠습니까? 이 액정을 보는 것에 그 액정에 그 그녀의 또는 그의 얼굴이 있다고 생각할 수 있을 것이고 그렇다면 한 걸음 더 나아가서 그 안에서 보는 시점샷을 쓸 수도 있다고 봤습니다.
So, for example, if a protagonist sends a text to the person that he really wants to see, then the eyes will be looking at the phone, the device, but his heart will be running towards her, right? So the face of her will be on that phone. So from that idea, I took a step further and why not use a POV shot looking from the perspective of the phone?
Okay, other question? Yes, please.
Hi, on the scene on top of the mountain where Tang Wei asked the detective to spread the ashes of the mother, so you were shooting her from behind, and she was wearing a mountain climbing headlight, where I saw some red lights was flashing. So initially I thought that she was recording again. I thought you may plot some later scene around that, but at the end it wasn't. Is this something that's a hint for a sequel? Because the body was never found.
다른 의미가 있는 거
Still elaborate if you want.
뒤에 빨간 게 왔다 갔다 해서 혹시 그게 촬영하는 기계인가 해서 그 시퀄을 혹시 또 양보해 주신 거예요? 시퀄이 뭐예요?
속편. 예, 재밌는 아이디어 고맙습니다. 그건 전혀 의도하지 않았고요. 물론 설애가 죽는 모습을 보여주지 않았기 때문에 어떤 관객은 그녀가 죽었다고 믿고 싶지 좋다는 관객이 있다면 그 사람은 그렇게 믿어도 될 그런 기회를 제공하고 싶었어요. 그러니까 어딘가 저 바닷가 바위 뒤에 숨어서 해준을 보고 있을 것이다 라고 생각해도 그만이죠. 그러나 뭐 녹음이나 녹화 장치는 아니었고 속편에 대해서는 생각하고 싶지 않다고 서경 작가는 말하고 있습니다.
Well, thank you for the good idea. But it was never intended. Yes, it's true since you didn't see her die. Actually, we don't see her body. So some people may want to believe that she didn't die. If there's a slight chance that I can give some of the audience that they really want to believe, then why not? Some of you may want to believe or hope that Seo-rae is actually looking at Hae-jun hiding behind those rocks. But no, that device was just lighting device. It was not a recording or a camera like that, and there's no sequel. And at least that's what my co-writer really insists, that there's no sequel.
그 질문을 들으니까 저 자신에 대해 좀 돌아보게 되는 것 같아요.
After hearing that question, it makes me reflect on myself.
왜 내가 이 영화에서 관객들에게 어떤 인상을 줬을까?
Like what kind of effect I'm having on the audience as I'm writing.
믿음을 주지 못했나?
Maybe I didn't give them enough faith.
아니면 또 어떤 일이든 일어날 수 있다고 생각한 건가?
Or do they just think that anything could happen?
그런 인상 자체는 좋은 것 같고, 그리고 속편은 저는 설애가 땅 밑에 있다고 믿고 있고 설애가 아닌 다른 주인공을 생각할 수 없기 때문에 쓸 수 없다고 말씀드렸어요.
So I believe that Seo-rae has been buried underneath the sand, and I don't think that there can be another Seo-rae, so I would like to think that there will be no sequel.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Could you speak up, please?
저는 인간의 두뇌가 쉽게 지루함을 느낀다고 생각하거든요.
I think human brains are prone to be bored.
제가 두 남자아이를 키우면서 그 사실을 알았어요.
I found out by raising two boys.
언제나 계속해서 즐겁지만은 않더라고요.
It's not always happy and fun.
그래서 로맨틱한 게 그렇게 오랫동안 지속되지 않는다는 걸 알기 때문에 가끔씩은 웃기기도 하고 가끔씩은 무섭기도 하고 이렇게 감정들이 전환되는 걸 좋아해요.
So I know that the romance doesn't last forever. So I like that, there can be fun, there can be some scares, and I would like to go back and forth between different emotions.
시나리오에는 그래서 어떤 한 감정이 그렇게 오래 지속되지 않고 그 이웃하는 감정과 반대되는 감정들이 교차되도록 신경 써서 쓰지만 막상 영화를 보니까 제가 쓰려고 한 것보다 훨씬 많은 유머를 감독님께서 영화에 넣으신 것 같아요.
So I think you cannot keep the one tone. So
제가 시나리오에 여러 가지 감정들이 교차되게 쓰려고는 하지만 감독님께서 훨씬 많은 유머를
So I do try to incorporate many different emotions, but after seeing the film, I realized how much the director put sense of humor into it.
그래서 웃고 있다가 갑자기 가슴이 철렁하는 순간들이 있어요.
So there are times when I'm laughing and then I feel like my heart is going to drop.
Yeah. So time for one last question. Yes, please. Here.
일부러 그런 건지.
예, 그 사실 이제 신기술을 적극적으로 끌어안아서 활용하자라는 아까 말씀드린 것에 이제 제일 대표적인 예가 바로 그 통역 앱일 텐데요.
Yes, so the usage of that application, the translation application, is a prime example of how I really wanted to embrace the new technology in this film.
그런데 사실 한국어, 중국어 사이에 이토록 완벽한 통역 앱은 존재하지 않습니다.
But you have to note that there's no such perfect translation capability or an app that is capable of perfect translation between Korean and Chinese.
그 어느 언어 사이에도 마찬가지일 거라고 생각하고 그런 면에서 이 영화는 SF 영화라고도 볼 수 있겠죠.
And same thing goes for any translation between any languages. And in that sense, this film is a sci-fi movie.
그런데 이제 이 앱이 이 영화가 진행되는 시간 동안에도 진화한다고 저는 생각했어요. 그 새로운 버전이 나온 거예요. 그래서 처음에는 남자 목소리로만 서비스가 됐는데 나중에 그 눈 덮인 산에 밤에 산에 갔을 때는 선택할 수가 있는 거죠. 그래서 여자 목소리, 뭐 아이 목소리, 할머니 목소리, 뭐 이런 식으로 다 선택할 수 있게 되어 있지 않을까 하고 상상하면서 그때 설애가 비로소 여자 목소리를 선택했다라고 저는 생각했습니다.
And as the time went by in the film, also the application evolved. So there was a new version of that application. So in the beginning, the application only serviced man's voice. But by the time the protagonist got to the top of the snowy mountain, then there's a new version which allows you to pick from different types of voices, a woman's voice, a child's voice, or even granny's voice. And Seo-rae made a choice that now I want to speak through the woman's voice.
그래서 앞에 사용됐던 남자 목소리는 설애의 목소리와 너무 다르잖아요. 남자고 또 너무 플랫하고 뭐 내용 그 말의 내용은 정확하게 옮기지만 그 거기 담긴 감정 같은 건 전혀 따라오지 않는데 이 산 호미산 눈 덮인 산에서는 특히 그 내용은 거의 사랑의 고백이기 때문에 거기서만큼은 여자 목소리로 전달하고 싶었습니다.
And when we first see Seo-rae using that application, so through the man's voice, the application does a perfect job translating the content of what Seo-rae says, but the voice is, it's man's voice, so it's not her at all, and it's flat and dry, so there's no emotions that are delivered through that application. And of course, on top of the snowy mountain, what Seo-rae says essentially love confession. And that's when she uses the voice of a woman. And I thought that's a choice, the conscious choice.
그래서 그 여자 성우를 녹음할 때, 목소리 녹음할 때 제 연출도 조금 그 앞에 남자 성우와는 다르게 조금은 그래도 너무 로봇 같지 않게 살짝 감정을 넣어달라고 그렇게 해서 녹음을 했습니다.
And during the recording of the application, the woman's voice, I directed the voice actor to add a little bit of emotion so that it won't sound too much like a robot.
Okay, we have to wrap it here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Director Park. Thank you, Chong Hyun-ik. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you.